Good morning. Welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Thursday, May 7th. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps. We're actually trading higher. We're up 0.1% this morning. We were up a little higher, but we're pretty much holding on to this upward momentum of 0.1% this morning. The key here is that the markets are waiting on comments from Iran later today. Apparently, they have a proposal from the U.S. to end the hostilities, and they're just waiting on Iran to acknowledge them. And it's really just a one-page memorandum. It's not very specific on any details, but we'll get more information on that later today. Face the fact, President Trump is traveling to China next week, and he's already indicated that he wants to have a deal in place before his arrival in China. Because, that gives him a little bit, more popularity if he says he's ending war. So he really does want to be able to have this deal in place before he lands in China next week. But the energy markets, we do see that the oil price has fallen this morning, but traders remain on edge because you just don't know how Iran is going to respond to the latest U.S. proposal. And it's really about the details with regards to the Strait of Hormuz. They could say yes to everything, but say, hey, you know what, we're going to be charging $1 million per ship for any ship traveling through the Strait. Well, that's not really open then, is it? So we'll have to wait and see how Iran's response, but that's going to really affect oil prices today. Now, President Trump, he's going to be in front of the media a couple times today. Now, he's supposed to be meeting today with the president of Brazil. I'm not expecting any big headlines out of that, but when he's in front of the media, he's going to be talking about the Iran situation. So we're going to get some additional clarity later this morning. On the economic calendar today, it's the jobless claims. The jobless claims report is due out pre-bell, and that's the key one that's in focus. In corporate news, you got Visa and MasterCard that are reportedly under investigation by UK regulators for anti-competitive practices. This all stems from that PayPal report. Costco came out late last night, and they released positive sales growth for April. Citigroup, they're holding an analyst meeting this morning. It's also another busy day for shareholders meetings. We've got a bunch of shareholders meeting scheduled for today. But on the earnings front, what do we got on the earnings front? AppLovin, ticker APP, DoorDash, DASH, Fortnite, FTNT, Tapestry, TPR. They're all trading higher after their earnings releases. ARM, Fastly, IONQ, Whirlpool, they're all getting hit after their releases. After the bell today, you're going to get earnings reports from Gilead, McKesson, Airbnb, Cloudflare, Coinbase, CoreWeave, Rocket Labs, and Expedia. And then tomorrow morning, you get CLMT, Starwood, STWD, Fluor, FLR, and BAM all releasing earnings. Okay, let's take a look at the European markets this morning and see what we're seeing. And it's really a little weak over there. It's flat. I mean, these markets are waiting for a catalyst, and they're waiting for those comments from Iran to be that catalyst. But you look at the German DAX after yesterday's big run. This morning, it's down a 1/10%. They had those factory orders, which came out up 5% month over month, which is huge. But the construction PMI fell to 42.1 from 48 in March, so that's kind of offsetting. But you look at the DAX, it's down a 1/10%. The FTSE, on the other hand, listen, that's down by 0.53%, which doesn't surprise me because it's being weighed down and pulled down by, energy stocks, because this index is very weighted on oil stocks. So that's it's pulling it down a little bit. The CAC in Paris is down 0.14% this morning. I will say that luxury stocks are rather positive in France this morning. Okay, now we got to look at Asia, and we got to talk about the Nikkei, because the Nikkei had a stellar day. I mean, it gained 3,320 points. That's 5.58% overnight. I mean, Japan equities were closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so they finally reopened, and they really just joined this global tech-driven rally. You look at Hong Kong, that was up 1.57%, or 412 points. Tech stocks ran that market higher. Shanghai also benefited from the increase in tech. That market finished higher by 0.48%, so that was positive. Now we look at oil prices, and oil prices are ebbing lower. They were down 2% all morning long. Now they're down over 3%. You got WTI at $91.82 a barrel. You got Brent at $98.02 a barrel. So, but it's really about this U.S.-Iran deal. We got to wait for these comments from Iran. And the key is going to be the shipping lanes, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. That has to happen in order for oil prices to continue to weaken. So caution. There is cautious ahead. I don't see clear skies. I see volatility, but we're going to be cautious with any oil trades. And yesterday, the EIA came out with their inventory data, and they said that inventories fell by 2.3 million barrels last week. Okay, let's move on and let's start talking about earnings reports that came out. We got to start out with ARM, ticker ARM. I mean, the stock's getting hit. It's down 7% this morning. But they did deliver a beat of 2 cents, and they did do it on higher revenue. You look at McDonald's, MCD, and these guys beat by 9 cents, and they did it on higher revenue thanks to the value meals. Stock's up 3.41% this morning. And then we got DoorDash. DASH, David Apple, Sam Henry. Stock's up 10.2% this morning. DoorDash beat by 6 cents. Although it was done on lower revenue, that's good enough. Stock's trading higher. Stock's rallying this morning. Okay, now we're talking about the stocks that are upcoming. And we got to start with Gilead Sciences, GILD. Their EPS is $1.89. Expected move is 4.79%. Cloudflare, which is ticker NET, Nancy Edward Tom. Their EPS is 23 cents with the expected move is 11.12%. Stocks had a real nice run last couple of days. Be cautious. Coinbase, ticker COIN, EPS is 36 cents. Expected move is 8.46%. Rocket Labs, interesting. RKLB, EPS is for a loss of 4 cents. Expected move is 9.69% when they release today after the bell. In terms of economic reports coming out today, listen, market's still, dealing with a wealth of employment data. And, this morning, we got the jobless claims. We got the initial jobless claims due out. We also got productivity and claims at 8:30. We get at 10 a.m. We get construction spending. We're going to hear from Minneapolis Fed Bank President Neil Kashkari at 1 o'clock. We're going to hear from Cleveland Fed Bank President Beth Hammack at 2:05. And then at 3:30, we're going to hear from New York Fed Bank President John Williams. In terms of the jobless claims, expectations are for a reading of 206K. Now remember, last week's reading was 189K, which is significantly lower than the estimates here. But, you got to remember that last week we were expecting 214 and it came in at 189, which was a significant drop. And so there's kind of staying in that 210 range estimate every week, but still a little lower than that. But anything under 210 is positive. And yesterday's that ADP report, expectations were for a reading of 61,000, and it came in at 109. I'm very positive, very positive. And that's putting the Fed officials kind of in a tough situation, because you cannot, with this positive employment data, you can't lean on, worries about employment. And you can't do that. You really have to consider the other side of the mandate with inflation, because inflation will likely start to rise, because guess what? We've seen the increase in oil prices, and that's going to work its way through the economy. So we got to be cautious on Fed, on a possible Fed move on interest rates higher. Okay, now we're talking about moving on. We're talking about FANG stocks and what's moving the market this morning. Amazon, AMZN, their pharmacy is expanding access to the new Ozempic pill via same-day delivery and delivery kiosks. Interesting. Google, they're said to be in talks with Blackstone and KKR for AI model access. Meta Platforms, late yesterday, they asked the judge to overturn the social media addiction verdict. Not likely going to happen. Tesla, China-made EV sales jumped 36% year over year in April. That's a 6 month of gains. Wow, nice. Now we're talking about Dow Jones 30 stocks, and the big one out there is the UK regulators investigating Visa and MasterCard following the saying that there's anti-competitive conduct on the big credit card companies. In terms of merger news, we're talking CPRX, Charlie Paul Richard, X-Ray. Angela Pharma is going to acquire Catalyst Pharmaceuticals for $4.1 billion. Roche is going to buy Path AI for $1.05 billion. In terms of guidance news, ARM sees Q1 EPS 36 cents to 44 cents. Street estimates 37 cents. So this weakness looks like an opportunity this morning. But Whirlpool, on the other hand, they cut their full year 2020-26 EPS view to $3 to $3.50. Street estimate had it at $4.73. That's a big downtick. It's a double downtick for Whirlpool, WHR. In terms of shareholders meetings, what can I say? We got meetings coming up from Archer Daniels Midland, GE Healthcare. We got UPS, United Parcel Service, and LUV, Southwest Airlines. They're all having shareholders meetings today. In terms of buyback news, Shell launches a 3 billion share buyback. BNTX announced a 1 billion share buyback. That's something to think about as well. In terms of, my pick of the day, I got to go with Gilead Sciences, ticker GILD, Grace India, Larry David. Earnings are due out after the bell. EPS is $1.89. Expected move is 4.79%. Yesterday's call volume was 5,258 calls to 3,322 puts. Positive, not 2-to-1, but good. Open interest, 109K to 63K. Like that too. Major brokers are raising price targets like that as well. So, you got to, pick a price target here. And I got to tell you, I really want to get in, below 136. If I can get in, the stock has the ability to easily trade 136 today, so I'm going to try and get in at 135.75 area, somewhere between 135.75 and 136. That's my pick of the day. GILD, Grace India, Larry David. Okay, now we're going to move on, and we're going to be talking about the hot stocks that are moving the market this morning. Let's see what we got here. Shake Shack appoints Michelle Hook as CFO. They see 60 to 65 new company-operated locations for 2025 or 2026. U.S. Probing 2.6 billion oil trades related to the Iran war. McDonald's reports Q1 global comparable sales increase of 3.8%. Nice. Nintendo announces Star Fox remake for Switch 2 out June 25th. Boeing got contract modification of $145 million from the Air Force. Royal Gold, RGLD, they announced a 500 million share repurchasing program. That's really all I'm seeing this morning. Okay, now we gotta move on, and we gotta talk about our pick of the day from yesterday, which was Cloudflare, which is ticker NET, Nancy Edward Tom. I mean, it was a solid pick. I mean, the fact of the matter is the stock opened up at 242.44 and then rallied all the way up to 250. I mean, but it closed at 248, but still the differential between the opening and the close is well more than 2%. And you look at it this morning, I mean, it hit 259 this morning already. I mean, Cloudflare, ticker NET was a big winner yesterday. I don't know how they're going to do with earnings, but I'm already out. But Cloudflare was a winner, ticker NET, Nancy Edward Time. Got to be happy with it. Traders, you guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green today.